Welcome to our virtual cuppa. It's brought to you today from South Africa, which is really exciting. So we're going global again. And we're talking to the amazing Lucinda Harman. Now, she is a transformational speaker, but also she's a thought leader. She's got some amazing things to talk to us about and tell us. She's in our group. So you'll see her regularly telling us stuff, which I just find fascinating. I love Lucinda. I think she brings great depth to our group. We're going to talk about something interesting today because she's also very creative. So I'm going to hand you over because I want her to just tell you a little bit about who she is and introduce herself. And then we're going to chat like we do on our virtual cuppas. So Lucinda, good morning to you in South Africa.
Thank you. It's really cool being here, and it's actually quite nice wearing this hat today, which is my game hat, because my work is quite intense, like you know, and it's very controversial and it kind of pushes boundaries and barriers. So it's quite nice to play. So my game really came from, I'd studied sports science and I'd studied psychology when I was at varsity. And for me, it was always about kind of a thing of, I always got this mental, the mind-body thing. That thing was going in my brain from 20. I always was looking at watching people and watching how they behave. And I always had this thing to push people and try and challenge them and get people moving. And I'm a very physical human being. So I always, being really big in sport and that, I always try to drill people into getting moving and getting them up and getting them doing something rather than couch potatoes and being boring. And as my life advanced, because now I'm hitting almost 50 now, early next year, is the fact
you look 21, Lucinda.
Oh, no, Claire said this to me yesterday in her group, 11:30 last night, about the fact that I age, and I said, I'm sorry that I'm 3 months away from 50, and she's like, oh, no, I'm quite a bit younger, and I'm like, oh, thank you so very much.
It's amazing. It is amazing. You look great.
But thank you. Yeah. It's amazing, actually, one can. It comes down to mindset, and it comes down to exactly what I work here with, which is getting yourself to an emotional, physical, spiritual, and I'm missing one, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, keeping yourself absolutely in shape at all times. That's kind of been my biggest thing. So growing up from pretty young, well, not young, going into relationships, my biggest thing, meeting anybody, was always that they need to be physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally fit. And it became like a joke with me. Every time I dated somebody, it was like, and did you follow the boxes? Did you? And it was such a joke with all my friends. And no one even ticked one box in every relationship I've had. And it kind of became more and more of a pain in my life. And then when I was sitting in a time period where I finished medical repping, and I was sitting thinking, now what is this thing that burns in my heart to do? And this game just kept on popping up, and I'd seen an American game that was aimed for school kids, but it was all about sports skills. And then I kind of, added in the emotional and the spiritual aspect. It became quite important to me as I'm getting older as well. It wasn't just the mind body, but I felt that there was just so much more that needed to be worked on. And one needed to start getting people to just lighten up, I find that this world gets very heavy at times, and people have lost communication, and they don't engage and they don't interact. And I'm actually so tired of this whole technological age. I can't tell you. Supposedly I'm a technophobe, as I've been nicely labeled in my life, and I own it with all the greatness in my heart because I like to be different. So technophobe or not, so be it. I believe in humans. I believe in what I do in my life. Every day I go in the world, I engage with people. I always try and make people feel better than I find them. And I always try and add to people every single step of the way. So when I created this game called Moving On Up, I started with a generic game, which the psychiatric hospitals, the jails, really bought into quite fast. They loved the fact that I had now created a game that really brought in, so the blocks are divided into colors, and they're 4 different colors. But as the person plays, and I mean, I've got these things, beanbags, when I create the big games, when people want a very big version, like in a prison, they want to put on a wall, then instead of them playing with these little tokens, which you do when you're playing as a group of 4 to 6, you actually start playing with beanbags, you're bringing in other skills. I tend to mix in a lot of activities between these things, because when I work, especially with children, and I see them getting stuck, because my game is really about, in my blocks, what I brought in was physical challenge, mental challenge, upliftment, which is really key, getting you up, getting you addressing this whole thing about starting to have gratitude, starting to look at what you love about yourself, these things. And then balance coordination were also quite a burning thing in my life. As a therapist practitioner going back, I studied Feldenkrais. Now, Feldenkrais' whole theory is, if you do habitual things in a non-habitual way, then you open up new neural circuitry. So a lot of my challenges are challenging people to multitask or do things back to front, upside down, even my mental challenges. I'm trying to get people to do things in the opposite way, because the biggest problem with humanity is we're doing everything dominant. So we open up, and I often tease people. I say, today, get out the other side of the bed, then try and do shoelaces the other way around. Yeah. Take a non-dominant hand for the day. Drink whatever you're drinking non-dominant. Yeah. Use keys, go non-dominant, not to drive your car upside down, obviously.
No, but Lucinda, I want to tell you something just here, because I'm doing my coaching diploma, and we had a day on practicalities and stuff like that. And we talked about doing something like this every day for, I think it was 30 days or something. Now, I have, since that day, which is just over a week, been cleaning my teeth with my left hand. And it's hilarious, but it's all to do with the fact that you're reprogramming these neural paths. And then at the same time, I'm visualizing something I want. And apparently this is kind of all about being able to get something to happen that, might not ordinarily happen. So it's really interesting.
It definitely does. I mean, our logical brain is always ruling, and that's dominant. Logic. But as soon as we tap into the other, to a non-dominant, our judgment of that situation becomes less, because we have less expectation of ourselves. So it definitely, and it's interesting. I mean, I do a lot of that where I draw things with a non-dominant hand, even though I'm not an artist, but I do it in order to push myself to just do things differently. I mean, at university, my lecturer and I were very good friends, and we created, I said in those days, I was a top athlete. And the one day, I don't know why, I was on this track, and I was a provincial athlete, and here I was, and I said, I'm going to run backwards today. And everyone went, are you flipping mad? And I said, no, I'm going to run backwards today. And that sport became a sport in South Africa, was reverse running.
Really? Did you invent it then, Lucinda?
Well, with this lecturer, we did. We created reverse running. And I mean, she was such a staid kind of person, and she's now a professor of the faculty now. And I got hold of her a couple of days, and she always said, you were just so freaking odd. You always did everything. I mean, yeah, you did a sports degree, and only you would have created that. And she said, it stuck. South Africa, it's an event, an actual item on athletics. What's that thing called? Can't we think? Athletics. What do they do? I don't know what that word is, but on the program for athletics now. Yeah. Reverse running. But hey, they don't make you run 1,500 meters or 3,000. It's a quick one. So it's 100 dash, or it's a 200 meter worst.
I love it. Honestly, it's amazing.
I was just so taken aback that day that I spoke to her, and she'd seen my games and said, "Shish, you don't stop. You're always pushing the boundaries of humanity." And I said, "Well, how cool was that?" I was a city student, age of 20, and we used to cycle a lot. I was in Stellenbosch, and it was wineland country, and we used to go cycle on a Sunday, and it was far. And I used to come up with all these crazy ideas on these cycle rides. And, it just shows you that when you do things differently, that sometimes they do stick. And
yeah, definitely. Lucinda, I want to know about the game in terms of, like, if I was playing the game, things like how many people, you said 4 to 6 people, is that right?
Yeah, if you look at the board, I mean, the size of the board, it's a 50 by 40 centimeters. So you're looking at maximum would be 6 around the board.
Yeah.
And obviously the bigger you go, if you want to make them big, I make them big. I mean, I can make up to a 1.8 meter by 1.4 meter or something. That's really big. But yeah, you're looking at in a smaller zone, like psychiatric hospitals obviously expanded them because they wanted a group of 10.
Yeah.
And then also the pre-primary schools. I sold to a lot of pre-primary schools. And then obviously step downs as well. Step downs kind of rehabilitation centers, and they kind of all were at about the 10, you know, so they went for a slightly bigger board. They just went for about, I think, a 2. Yeah.
So I love the idea that you can play it with your friends, but also this can be put into different environments like schools and, like you say, prisons, therapy type, you know, environments, and maybe even corporate team building type environments, I think. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that was part of my whole brainstorm when I created the icebreaker, which also is the third part to it, is I'd been in corporate for so long, and I sat through weeks and months and whatever of horrible sales meetings, and they were just so bloody boring. And I was always up to something. You know, I cannot sit in a room. I've got ants in my pants. I've got serious attention deficit disorder. I mean, I'm good on a road, but don't put me in a room. And I was always up to something. Like, I was always throwing something or doing something and peeving off management the whole time. And the game for me, I always said in corporate, no one's taken up in South Africa. They all don't, they think we must all be serious and we must all want to slit our wrists. They don't want people to be happy at all, no upliftment. Is I wanted to implement this. I actually believe this would actually do a huge amount. In the morning, if people just did, I mean, I can see this in not even corporate team building, but actually in the corporate environment where I'd wanted to do an app for, I don't know what you have there, but you know those big call centers like our medical insurances, whatever. I wanted to create an app in-house. So in the morning, I can send you something saying, hey, hi, why don't you tell me 3 things this, or why don't you do that? Or I created a physical one to give you a training in your workday, so that you can physically, from your desk, literally train your entire being. But it was kind of to do it on a mental, emotional, spiritual, physical level.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the brain behind the game.
I want to know more, because the game sounds really interesting to me. So I've got a team of people, potentially in a corporate environment, or even just a group of friends. I've got this game. I've got tasks on this game, clearly, that I need to do, which are quirky, you know, reverse thought stuff. I love all that. Do I throw a dice? Do I work my way around the board? What's the kind of process of the game? Tell us about that.
Okay, so let me try and show it to you, because I think it's a bit easiest. So if you see the center over here, there's a dial. I'm just using Icebreaker at the moment, which I love. I love my Icebreaker. Yeah. So you're taking your pieces. So everyone's got a color token or a color beanbag, depends on the size. Yeah. And then you flip. So I've created the flick flip. You know when you flick a coin from the outside it lands, so you've got to land within the center on a color. The color you land on becomes your first move. So where's first move? Here's start. We're back to front. So you're going to start from here and then move around the board. Sure. And you're going according to the color you land on. And I didn't want dice. I tried to make it as simple as I could, because it just became a cost thing as well, how to do this as simplistically as one can.
And when have you won the game? Because I mean, that will be something people will ask. Or is that not the purpose of the game, Lucinda?
There's no winning in this game. I decided in my life that I was incredibly, I mean, A-type personality. I'm an achiever. I was, as you know, lethal in sales, killer dog style, no mercy, and, you know, incredibly in my sport. You know, I've excelled very, very highly in my life in lots of things, but I saw I didn't like that creative kind of competitive side of myself anymore. And I let it go to rest about 2-3 years ago. I actually brought it to peace. And I said, for the rest of my days on earth, I'm going to get people to interact and to focus on kind of celebrating and enjoying and being with each other, rather than competing to be better than or more than or compared to people. So on purpose, and people go drill me on this, is the fact that on the game you can see it starts here, and you can see the arrows are carrying on, because I believe in life as well. I don't believe in endings. I believe everything's a continual cycle. So you can either play according to the blocks. You can literally go straight from first block right through, and everyone does them together. It's quite nice in a group. Individuals can play and like they land on the centerpiece, or you can choose the colors that you want to focus on the day. That's the other way of doing it. You know, I'm a very lateral thinker. So I very seldom will dictate to people how they do something. I want to give people the opportunity to expand and explore. But my game, as it's,
sorry, I was just going to say that there's a couple of things here for me, Lucinda, where this makes this game really unique. The one is that you can't win, because every game that's out there, board game wise, you know, you tend to find there's a way to win. And I think that's lovely that you can't win, actually. I think it's really refreshing. I do, honestly. And people probably think that wouldn't be me because I'm competitive and I'm a salesperson. But actually, I think the whole point of the game is not about winning. I think that's the whole point, which is why it's really exciting.
The journey. It's the process and it's the people around you.
Yeah, and I love that it doesn't end. I think that's wonderful. That's such a great thing. Well, you know, when do you know it's finished? Well, you finish it when you want to finish it. The fact is you've been together for that time and you've played the game together. I just love it. I can see it working in so many different places. It's very, very cool. So
I'm glad you can.
I know. Yes.
Yay! Today's a great day. I just gave up on this game, I don't know, 8 months ago. I just threw it aside and I said, Dragon's Den, you can handle it, because I was told by a coach in the UK, Lucinda, this belongs in the Dragon's Den. They're going to get it. I can see it. Stop wasting your time in South Africa, because you just, no, I better not say this, but stop whatevering against the storm. So I'm not going to swear on your group.
But Lucinda, the point about the Den is, I mean, the first thing about the Den is it's very commercial, it's television, and we always need to remember that. So it's going to be about what makes people watch the program, all right? And sadly, that's just a fact. But behind it, there are business people who are very rich and they have got money to invest. So if you're really lucky, you may get investment and you may get a dragon who wants to really take time with you. You know, that'll be the gamble, but you'll get the exposure, which is also good because you will be on the program. So there's very good things.
Somebody will get this. It's just somebody's got a bit of a lateral brain. Someone that I honestly do, and I'm pretty vision based. I see this as being and I only see in one country it's going to work. And I'm not being funny, because I've been marketing this out there. I've got a Facebook page. I've done lots of things with it. Facebook page. The place that's related the best to the game is the UK. Every time I do a live and I do crazy things, I do stupid. I mean, my pages become my outlet to be completely out the box, which I am. I'm completely unhinged half the time, out the box, lateral, psychedelic, like I call myself, a psychedelic sheep on a multicolored unicorn. That's me. So I really believe this could really end up in the right place, right time. This could end up as being a really solid family UK-based game.
Yeah, I think so too. And the other thing about the Den is they like things that are different. And so actually that's another reason why you could actually go into the Den, you know, and you'll never know until you try at the end of the day.
I mean,
but the other audience that will love this, and I think, and it's only my opinion, but I think America would like something like this too, because they are very much about showing their emotions, trying new things, being out there. They would definitely buy into something like this game. This is just about being together, having fun, doing things different. I certainly think America would look at it for sure. But the point is, what you need to do is you need to sort of keep talking about it and explain what it's about so people get it. Now, where is it at? Is it produced? Can you buy it? Tell us more about that, Lucinda.
I mean, I've produced it. I've got games, you know, with me. I have cute little ones like these babies that I literally people put in their diaries, because I've got a lot of people that actually buy these for their diaries for the year. And then the bigger ones come 50 by 40, or they can expand. So yeah, I mean, they are available. And I mean, the thing is really just the shipping. That's it. You know, I think it works out quite cheaply, actually. For you guys, it works very cheaply for you. I think it's looking at it's just about 20, just under 20 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you think about what board games cost today, they're 20, 30 pounds, they're upwards, aren't they? So Christmas is coming, Lucinda.
I know it's coming, and that's a bad thought for me right now.
Yeah, but potentially if we get our virtual cuppa put into the group, you know, before Christmas, which is I will do it. I'll put it in the next couple of weeks. then people may want to think about this as a nice present that's going to be really different and no one else is going to have it at the moment. So I just think that this is a great chance for you to tell people about the game, which is why I wanted to talk about that with you. Because I'm not sure everyone in the group knows you for this bit, and I think this is where we need to be talking. So it's really
this is
exciting.
In my closet. This is this sits back under hook and lock. This game is for a while. So the game is called Moving It Up, the game to inspire, challenge, inspire, and uplift you. And I mean, you know, I could play a couple of these things with you, but most people are not up for it on camera. But you know, the thing is, obviously the different ones is the generic one, which I made for the general population. So that was anyone that literally could count, could spell. Yeah. Probably like above 7 years. And it went up to your older people. I mean, an old age home could have this game easily. And it's just so nice to do because they really can. And then I created the junior one. And the junior one, instead of the mental tasks, I called them challenge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And under challenge names. So I would do challenge 1, color. Show, find, draw an object that matches one of the colors, red, blue, green. So it was giving the kids, because the teacher now has to read it to the children. I created shape, animal sounds, elements, and touch and feel were my elements for the mental challenge for kids under 7, 8, around there. And then I created icebreaker because I really feel humans, I think it's society, I think as a lot of it had to do when kind of this whole child sexual abuse thing came, and then suddenly no one wanted to touch each other ever again. It became like a very cold, people are too scared to show affection to each other. Yeah. And it's something that I'm very big on. When I go in my daily activities, there are a lot of people that come up where I shop, go, can we have a hug today? And I mean, when I hug someone, I hug their life into them, you know.
I love that.
And I mean, because of our racial problems where I am, there are a lot of people who are of color or a black that have come up to me often and say, I've never had a white person love me like you. And it's become almost like when I go to some shops, I have a whole line of women waiting for hugs from me. And I've kind of inspired them a lot with this kind of work. Tellers, when you go into town, I don't know what you call them there, but the cashiers, tellers, often they get really unhappy. And I would give them little things like hip hip hooray, or I would high five them, or I would, and it became like such a contagious thing within their shops, you know. And that is what this is all about. So Icebreaker, I'm going off the path as usual. Icebreaker was really about probably a younger target or a social kind of climate, a social environment, where I wanted people to start touching, not touching in an inappropriate way, but I wanted to get people engaging. So you'll see high five everybody. It's safe, high five. I mean, but you go into a group that you don't know anybody and everyone's like, ooh, give them some drinks and suddenly it all hangs out. But I wanted to create something where we could do this. We could actually do it. So I'm just going to give you some examples, like tongue twisters on it. Things where you engage people when they touch each other. They put hugs to everybody. Stupid stuff that I made them do. What do you like about the person on your right hand side? Say the person across your waist name backwards. Now they've got to remember who's in my group, and they've got to start. I'm just trying to think of other funny ones I can add here because I haven't seen my game for a while. But it was just things that people could show off, kind of be a little bit different, but also often in a group and people really do want to engage with someone, or they really do like somebody, or they do, and this gives them the push. This kind of gives them a space to come out their shell, because I think this is the biggest problem with where we are with social media, with electronics, is the human race has become more and more detached and more and more away from being human and about being compassion of heart and about vigor and excitement and just enjoying people, you know, coming together. I mean, I miss playing board games. I don't know when I last played, but there's no one around me to play with. I mean, I've got to go and sit and I play often, pick up sticks on my own here, which I know.
This thing does stop. I hate that. That's so sad. But look,
I don't.
I know. But you've got us now. That's what this is about. So we're here as well. But listen, I love this. I think it's great. It feels good. It feels different. I think if you know, you articulate it with such passion, and that's really important. You know, you've designed this and created it, and now you've told us why. It's awesome. I want to put all the links on here when I post this, so we can see where we buy it, how we get in touch with you, all right? So we'll put the links onto this. You can send me those. And the other thing I want is some images. We talked about some images just of the board, so people can really start to see what those little things are that we can do in the game. But it's such fun, and I love it. And I see it being expanded into all those different places. So for kids, for adults, for, I don't know, just there's so many things you can do with it. It's very cool. I really, really like it. And I love that we talked about this today. I think it was really important that when we had our virtual cuppa, we really told people about actually what you had in the closet, Lucinda. So listen,
it's all out there now. It's hanging off. It's hanging on the hangers are all over the place now. The game is back out.
The game is back out, and we're going to start talking about it. So thank you so much for today. I can't believe how amazing this signal is between South Africa and the UK. It's just been such a great, you know, we haven't had any interruptions. It's been awesome. And sometimes when I'm Zooming in the UK, I get all this interference with signal and stuff. So this has been a really great.
This has been great. If you saw my own work on my group yesterday, I think it was 4 takes, and I was with the UK. And eventually, I mean, everyone's going, but you're so professional. I'm going, if only you knew inside what I was really saying to Facebook. Yeah. You know, so I'm glad it's worked, because normally my Wi-Fi goes up and down because I live in the country and it goes up and down. So I'm really, really glad we got through a whole like Zoom.
It's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. And I've loved chatting, Lucinda. I know that we've chatted before, but to be able to then put this out to the group, that's why I'm doing these virtual cuppas. That's why I want to do this, because I want everybody to get to know the groupies in my group and what they're really about. So thank you so much for this. It's been awesome.
Thanks for giving me the space, because it's actually nice to do. I mean, otherwise you don't do it. And what you're doing, you know, I love compassionate coaching. I love what you're doing, and the group that you've created. As you know, sales is my secret weapon behind the scenes. But yeah, I mean, it's and the way you do it, you know, Jules, you do it in a way that is just it just takes the sleaze, and it takes the pressure and the sting out of the side that kind of people are scared of.
Thank you.
And it's such a nice thing to do, you know. As I thought this morning, actually, when I had a bit of a quiet time and I had to go and put out my own stuff into the media, and I had to be very risky today. And I shivered at first this morning, I really did. And I sat and I thought, you know what, I think you'd posted something, and I thought, you know what, in my next life, I want to have a work like Jules' work.
I posted something today, and I'll tell you what it was. I posted on LinkedIn because I had a moment last night, my little light bulb moments that we all seem to have. And I thought, I know what it is I don't like about sales and how we are putting that out into the world. And it's ego. And it's ego. That's what it is. And I started to explore the word ego and the definition of it. And it was just blatantly obvious to me that that's why people don't like sales, because it's full of ego, and it's all about the salesperson, and it's all about how good they are and their targets and what they're hitting and what they're achieving, and the drive and the work and the money. And I just thought, this is it. I know what it is now. And now my message is, sales is not about ego. It is not about ego. It's about the human conversation, life skills and sales skills. And I
said that yesterday. And I mean, I'm glad you said that, Jules, because I mean, I'm going through a hell of a process for my next coaching, you know, to really come out with a very, very unique coaching style, whatever you want to call it now. And it's very sensitive matter. And my biggest thing was, I was doing training, and I was with someone very business. It was all about business and all about money making. It was all about monetizing everything. And, you know, I lived with such anxiety and overwhelm throughout that training. I actually was on the verge, I think, of a nervous breakdown eventually through that training. And I couldn't understand what it was that was really getting into my bones. It was something that was so uncomfortable until I stood back. And yesterday, when I was in the middle of doing this work that I was doing yesterday, I just realized in the middle of it, I thought, I need to work from heart. And this is what's so important to me. And I hear the voices going, but how are you going to make money and all this stuff? And I'm going, but you see, I will never be able again in my life to go according to that formulation of ego.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, you know, we all need money because it's a currency of life, and that's sad, but that's a fact. But the money comes with the honesty and the reaching out and giving. That's where the money comes from. And I truly believe that. I do. I believe if you give value, then actually money's not even anything you need to be worrying about. That's what I think. So, but we could talk about this one for another half an hour, Lucinda, to be honest. We could. It's a great subject.
We'll do one day on sales.
Yes, let's do that. Yeah, let's do a sales virtual cuppa.
And discuss sales. I mean, how I saw it, the driving factors that my integral, because I have my own training that is also that's another one in the closet, is my own coaching training style. And I kind of use sport aspects to kind of use it. But I think the main thing is, you know, is that's why I appreciate what you do. I mean, that's why I'm in this group. As I told you a while back, I removed myself from every business sales group that I could. But this is a group that was safe. This is a group that for me had a fun element. And a leader that to me was exactly in alignment with who I am as a person. And I think that is what this is all about, you know.
Thank you.
It's the way we do things, you know, and how we make people feel. I think that is one of my biggest sayings in the last week is, you know, it's not to matter what we do, it's how we make others feel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so right. That's what we leave people with, is how we've made them feel completely. Now, listen, I have felt great today talking to you. So you've left me feeling really good to start my day. And I love that we've talked about the game, and I'm going to get this virtual cuppa out so the whole group can enjoy it. But thank you so much for your time. It's so lovely to talk to you again, Lucinda.
And yes, you're moving on up.
So, yeah. And I'm going to see you in the group, and I'll talk to you later, I'm sure. I'm doing my Q&A later. So I shall catch you later.
I'll catch you then. Catch you later, alligator.
Ta-da for now.
Ta-da!
Bye.